What's up guys, Jesse here, and today we're talking about skill level 27, and that's how to safely lift the car and support it. Why this matters: a car falling on you can kill you and cause serious injury, and or cause, it can do either one. Never work under a vehicle held by just a jack. Always make sure that you have a jack stand to support it properly and that the rear wheel is scotched. So let's take this step by step as we get started. So to lift a car properly, you need the proper required floor jack. I have a 2-ton for this car, and it's very important to know the weight of your car so you know what type of floor jack to get. And it's the same with jack stands. Always make sure you have the proper weight. 3-ton is a little bit of overkill, but it works. You know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Check out the 101s, y'all. That's what I call my slides now, the 101s. And anytime you're jacking a car up, especially a manual like this one, you want to make sure you have some kind of wheel scotching it so it does not roll back when you jack the car up. All right, so we always want to park the car on a flat level surface. Whether it's asphalt or concrete, you never want to park a car on an unlevel grass surface or dirt surface because it will slip and fall. Interesting story, my uncle, when I was younger, he had a round track Camaro he was building, had the car just on the jack in his yard on dirt, and the car slipped off the jack, fell on him. Luckily he can still walk, but he was down for a good while, broke everything between his hips, but he's better now. All right, so next up, you want to put the car in, if it's manual, you want to put the car in manual. You want to put the car in first if it's manual and pull the e-brake. If it's automatic, just put it in park. And after that, make sure you scotch the rear wheel. And now it's time to move on to the correct lift points. So I would probably have to crawl up under my wife's Pilot because that would be the newest vehicle we have, but I'm sure it has it. Matter of fact, let's. All right, this is my wife's Pilot. It's a 2022, and if you see right here where my finger is, right there in the screen, let me get a good focus, please focus. But that is called the weld. So what you want to do is you want to put your jack stand on this pinch weld right here. And to lift the car off the ground, it should have a frame seam that runs through where you can lift the car up with the jack. And then you set this part on the jack stand. So this is a 2022, so this means it's they're still building them this way, just to be clear. So back to the Civic, just make sure that you use correct lift points. You don't want to use like plastic, the exhaust, or the oil pan, of course. And always make sure before you lift it to change a tire, you always loosen these. Loosen these where you can remove them with your hand, but do not take them off. And then you lift the car. All right, so before it gets too dark out here, let's lift this thing up off the ground, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So on this car, there is a place right here where my finger is. That's part of the frame. We're gonna use that to lift it because we're gonna need this right here, the weld. We're gonna need that for the jack stand. When I zoom out, it gives it that weird fishbowl look. You feel me? So we're gonna pump. We make contact. We want to make sure we're in contact with the frame, and it's not really. There we go. Perfect. Now we are in contact with the frame. not the exhaust, oil pan, or anything that can break. So you want to jack this thing up easy. We got a scotch back here, so it's safe. Now you want to get it up high enough where the tire, you can remove the tire. So you want some clearance on the ground and the tire. Maybe where you can stick some fingers up there would be perfect height. Let me get this bad boy up a little higher. I'm not removing the tire today, but I'm just showing you how to do this safely. So you see how that's sitting? That is perfect. Now we're gonna keep the jack under there just for, you know, safety reasons. But we're just gonna twist a little to the left to ease it down on that jack stand. My hand is like slippery, y'all. All right, so I had to put this down because I had to use two hands to ease it down. But once you ease it down and it lays on the jack stand, what I like to do is twist this back to the right and easily pump it where there's just a little pressure, but it's still sitting on the jack stand, just for safety reasons. Trust me, you do not want a car falling on you. So now once it's up in the air, it's time to remove the tire, to put on a spare tire if you're changing the tire. And the way you want to do it is you want to go, you know, normally I go from the bottom, top, left, right. And if there's 5, you just go, you know, top, corner, side, like that. You never want to go in circles. All right, guys, so when you're done doing this, lift the car up just enough to get the jack stand out from under it, and then let the car down. Of course, you never want to work alone if possible. Always double check everything before crawling under a car. And always buy quality tools. Don't use cheap jacks and jack stands, because trust me, they can fail quickly. All right, guys, that is a quick tutorial on how to lift the car safely and remove a tire if you have to change it. And I appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. I'm also on TikTok. I'll see you guys next video.